Hey Eugene, good to catch up after, I don't know how long, a couple of months, 3 months, I think, since we last spoke.
Yeah.
It was just after the Tory fight.
Yeah.
Not too much happening as far as the number of fighters you've got in the gym, but Dan's been busy, of course. A good win, and then last Sunday here in New Zealand, things didn't work out too well. Tell us first a little bit about the Makhachev fight.
Yeah, good to see you, Tony. It's been, this particular lockdown's been a long one, but yeah, good to see you. I mean, there's not much you can say about the Makhachev fight. You have to act appropriately. You have to act like a man, whether you're a coach, trainer, manager, fighter. And when you lose. And you have to go away and, as a fighter and as a team, we have to internally figure this out. But externally, you have to take that loss like a man and give the credit where credit's due. And Makhachev won that fight in dominating fashion, and and he deserves that win. It's just one of those annoying fights. Every fighter has them. Dan's had a couple in his career, and just fights that you fall victim to a finish like that, and you never get to show the world your potential, or the potential that I know that Dan has, and that's the fight game. Like, every fighter knows that your opponent, it doesn't matter who they are, how world class they are. Every opponent has that ability and that capability to take you out like that, and end your night early. It's one of the risks that this lifestyle has, and unfortunately we fell victim to that, and there's nothing to be said. We just have to deal with that as a team internally, and get together, rally together, and we will, like we always do, we will learn from it and come back.
The circumstances, that's something that would never have happened had things been normal. I can't imagine you lining up a fight of 5 weeks after a big one. Is that play hard in it? No, Tony. I'm gonna disagree with you there. If you decide to take a fight, the knowledge that we have is we have the knowledge of the circumstances that we're undertaking that fight, right? So we know full well, the environment Dan's in, the preparations he's taking, and if we thought that all of those things put Dan in a place where he couldn't win the fight, then we're not taking the fight. So we took the fight knowing all those circumstances because we thought we could win 100%. So we can't then go back and use those things as an excuse, not when we knew about them. And that's just something I'm going to refuse to do. So the fight was, everybody made weight, everybody stuck to the rules, and that was an even playing field, and we just lost, and you just have to eat humble pie. And I think my team is one of the best in the world at taking a loss. It doesn't happen that often, and when it happens, I think my team deals with it the best. My athletes, my coaching staff, and everybody around that team.
They deal with it the best. They acknowledge it. They acknowledge what happened. And that's the only way to move forward from a loss and to get better from it and to learn from it, is to acknowledge that it happened. And then you can delve into correcting that properly. Where you run into trouble is where a lot of fighters, teams and coaches sit around and make a whole lot of excuses. The best thing to do is just accept it. Yeah.
Dan, the family is moving over here. After that loss, is that still going to happen? Is he still down to domicile himself in the States?
Yeah, at the end of the day, he can't get back. He can't get back. We went for another round of the MIQ lottery, and no one got a voucher again. So I think as the family arrived tonight. So that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. And that's all you need. That's all you need. I could get stuck overseas easily if I could have my family with me. I would happily do that. So the UFC has made that possible. Obviously, Dan's wife and kid have made that possible. They're going to fly over there. So once that's in place, like that's basically Dan. He's at home. What more do you need? What more do you need other than your family and your friends around you? And that's what he's got temporarily. And yeah.
You said something to me on the phone the other day after the fight that I'd like to pass on to the viewers, and that was emphasise the importance of having the right people there. It's easy to have the right people after a win, but it's a little bit more difficult to have the right people when you've had a bad loss.
Yeah, and in both circumstances it's very, very, very important that you have people that love you and that you love and that you trust around you. And in an environment like that where you're, we don't like to say it, but you're literally putting your life on the line, you need people to your left and right that you can trust with your life. And that's so important. I once had a fight in Australia where I could not get my corner there. And there could have been so many alternatives I could have done. I could have put some renowned coaches that were willing to corner me. Some great coaches, some great fighters in my corner. But I chose to put 3 of my best friends from high school who lived in Australia, who lived in the same city I was fighting, in my corner. None of them were fighters, none of them had trained. There's a very basic understanding of fighting. One of them had some fights, so he was the lead cornerman. But that's how important what we're talking about is. I would have rather had people that I trust and people that will have my back in my corner than people that know a little bit more about the sport. Because I just think it's that important to be in that environment. That environment at that stage was going to do more for me winning that fight than it was to have people more knowledgeable that I didn't know from a bar of soap in my corner. And to that end, to have Frank there, to have Doug there, and to have Hemi there, one of Dan's teammates, one of Dan's and 2 of Dan's coaches. I mean, that's all you want, and I was very happy with the job that Frank did leading up to the fight, and Doug and Hemi did an excellent job supporting Dan and being there, and just giving Dan those fight week feelings that are all important. And we just got pipped right at the end. That shit happens.
Well, it hasn't been all downhill because Volk a couple of weeks ago had one of the fights of the century probably against Brian Ortega. Happy days all around there.
Yeah, and let's not forget Dan's fight, of course, that he had that night as well with his opponent. So that was one of the reasons why Dan was able to back up. I'm sure you're going to come to that later. But Dan was, you know, that's all a matter of circumstances and being in the right place at the right time. Dan was over and just finished, had an excellent victory on that card, and then was offered the Makhachev fight and took it with open arms. So that was another very important fight for Dan, coming off a couple of losses, I think. So Dan really needed to turn that around under some really difficult circumstances, flying over at the last minute. And Dan managed to get back in the winning column, which ultimately put him in a position to take the lucrative Makhachev fight. So everything kind of worked out in Dan's favour in terms of that. And then and then Volk just showed, you know, Volk just does what Volk does. You know, like he's such a talented fighter, and he's got such a great coach. His head coach Joe Lopez is getting to understand the way Joe approaches the fight and the way that he interacts with Volk. Has done my coaching, has taken my coaching to another level. So yeah, just watching those guys operate together and being a little part of it in the corner has been a real privilege. And again, yeah, he dominated that fight. You know, a guy that everybody was saying was going to give Volk a bit of trouble, and he did for a small while. But for the most part, Volk did what he does, and yeah, proved that he's the best featherweight in the world across any promotion.
Now, of course, everybody will be wanting to know what's happening. We've got Brad's fighting Rafael Fiziev.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that, and what are you expecting from his opponent?
Yeah, again, like that's going to be a great fight. That's going to be a real crowd-friendly fight, and plenty of material to watch on that opponent. He's had quite a few UFC fights and quite a few fights outside of the UFC that are well documented. I don't know, I think you're just going to get a real crowd-friendly fight. Like, those are two guys that don't like to wrestle a lot, which is what people want to see. They like to stand there and try and pick each other apart. We're working on a few things, which I'll keep pretty guarded, because I feel this is going to be one of Brad's biggest tests. Interesting fight, and these guys have some familiarity with each other because they've been in the same team as each other for a small period of time, while they both trained at Tiger, so they've done quite a few rounds together. That always brings a level of comfort to a fight when you have either fought the person before or trained with the person. You understand there's a lot of the unknown is taken out of it, so it gives you a little bit of a sense of comfort. But yeah, you still have to understand that it's been a few years since they've had that familiarity with each other, and I guess the question they're both asking themselves is how much has changed? How much has changed since we last sparred? And I think that's what they're going to answer each other on the night.
And only a week after that, Kai has a big fight.
Yeah, Kai, you know, like Mick Maynard gave Kai this wonderful opportunity to welcome Cody Garbrandt to the flyweight division, who's coming down from bantamweight, a division where he's been champion. So this is a former champion of the UFC. And you know, like I think it's no secret that they're giving Cody this opportunity in the flyweight division, and if he can get a really good win over Kai, they're going to push Cody into a title fight with whoever's the champion. But make no mistake, we're planning to ruin that little party, that little plan, and put Kai in that position to be fighting for the title next. And that's what this fight means, really. this is a title eliminator. If you ask me, and listen to most people, whoever wins this fight will be, effectively fighting for the title next. So we're looking to make a pretty big statement with this fight and give Cody a good old Kiwi welcome to the flyweight division, and then send him a bon voyage back to bantamweight.
Shane Young. Shane hasn't fought since March.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Shane, we're working on something for Shane. Shane's, all the guys have been doing as well as they can be in this this time. As most people know, like for a professional athlete based in Auckland at the moment, it's very, very difficult circumstances to be training and working on your craft. But Shane's been staying fit, and early next year he should get off the rank. So yeah, he's not in the ideal training environment at home, running around the park 1,000 times, but he's staying fit. Yeah.
The other fighter who fought back in March was Carlos Ulberg.
Yeah, Carlos will have an announcement pretty soon. Yeah, we're definitely there's definitely something in the pipeline for him to be back in the game early next year. So yeah, I can't say too much about that. I'm sure he will come out and talk and have some sort of release about that. But yeah, Carlos is the same as Shane. He's been doing what he can to maintain a bit of fitness and do a little bit of skill work where he can. But again, very difficult under the current lockdown circumstances we're in now. So yeah, he's still staying fit.
And what about Blood Diamond? He's a big announcement, and then, well, if it all goes flat, we have to wait. How long do we have to wait?
Nah, him and Carlos are on the same pipeline effectively, so we have something in the works for them that it's not really finalised yet, so it's not set in stone, but yeah, I should, before year's end, I should definitely, before December, I imagine, like this month, I should have some sort of confirmation on if they're fighting, where they're fighting, when and who. So again, we're just battling through this lockdown, keeping these guys fit. So Bloods has managed to keep a good level of fitness over this lockdown. We've just got to be ready so that when we finally open, we can kind of hit the ground running instead of building a base level of fitness up again from scratch. Yeah. Mm.
And of course, everybody wants to know about Israel Adesanya.
Yeah. Same thing. I can't confirm anything, but a lot of stuff in the pipeline for him. And in the same boat, just, our mission at the moment is to keep our base level of fitness high enough so that when we finally open in New Zealand or travel overseas to start camp or whatever alternative we start, we're hitting the ground running. Instead of having, these guys splitting and splattering everywhere because they haven't done anything for 12 weeks now. So I've been on them remotely, and so they all seem to be relatively fit. So when we do finally get to, into these training camps, we can have a running start.
Just how difficult is that? Because for people overseas, probably can't understand, but the gym is completely closed. Hot property is so. You go there, there's people spying on you, taking photos, reporting you to the press, hoping that you'll break a rule or something.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same difficulties as everybody else that runs a small business in the biggest city in the world. I have a couple of added problems, is that I'm stuck right in the middle of the city, some of the expensive real estate in the country. That's like I can't, I can't sugarcoat it. Like, it's been absolutely devastating. Yeah, I mean, my business has been set back. Years and years and years of hard work have been set back. Dare I say it, if I can't open this year, I'm already like looking at alternatives, whether that be downgrading the gym and moving it somewhere. But absolutely devastating. It'll take me years to get the gym back, financially, especially financially, to where it has been. Just absolutely devastating. But we're all in it together. I don't want to be that one guy that's complaining too much about something that we're all going through. But it's from a business point of view, absolutely. It's just something I never expected. I don't think anybody did, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe that can be the blame. But what I found is that I just wasn't diversified enough. I wasn't diversified enough. I had all my eggs were in that basket, and I since found out that obviously I need to be a lot more diversified to survive. So we'll battle on. We'll battle on. What can? It's a good old Kiwi way, right? We'll battle on. We'll work with these unrelenting landlords that everybody has that don't want to give you an inch. A lot of these landlords, they don't mind you suffering as long as they're not suffering, but we'll just battle on, good old Kiwi way, and we'll come out the other side, Tony?
Hey, thanks for talking to me in difficult times. And, I'd like to shake your hand. Not like that.
Awesome. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.